welcome in. So today our topic is past traumas and fear of loss. Okay. And what we are actually going to do is we try to understand what is this fear of loss. And there will be, as I said before, there will be different meaning. But if you understand what goes behind the scene, then you can correlate between why you fear the loss or why you have a fear of loss and where it comes from and what kind of impact it is having into your life. Because what you see now is the impact, you see the outcome. So if you can somehow make the correlation, it will be interesting. Uh, then I kind of, in my own simple way, I try to give in one simple chart a pathway. What are the steps you can take to overcome? So when I work with people individually, this is exactly what I would do. Okay, so that's what I share there. And then we will get into meditation, ourselves tuning fork, so that you experience, at least for one uh, area where you feel the fear of loss, and try to make some changes into your life. And of course, as I said, because we are going to record it, you can come back and play, and that will be part of the description, and then we'll do the Q&A. So let's get into the subject. So back to relationship circle. So this is you and all the people around you, all the things. And when we say we have a fear of loss, how does it impact your life? And fear of loss is actually loss of someone in your relationship circle, right? In the work I've done most, and I put it in kind of orange light, is where we have the most fears about loss. So it can be about parents because, of course, they are aging. Sometimes we may have lost one and then we are afraid of the other, or about something around them. Spouse, okay, it can be your partner, and uh, I mean, romantic relationship, friends. There's a lot of fear there. Then job or bosses. So I put boss, but it's also job. So this is where you find most of the fears of loss coming in. Of course, there could be also be related to a pet. I mean, then it can go everywhere. But the most common thing I see is coming in this area. So parents, spouse, children, friends, uh, uh, partners, or sexual romantic relationships, and job and bosses basically. Now, the fear of loss can be in two flavors. One is you lose somebody because of death or illness, which means there is that fear that somebody will go away by leaving the world, and that applies to especially in the close ones. Or there is a fear of loss of the relationship. Well, something will go wrong or something goes wrong that happens between the relationship. So if there is something that goes wrong between the two, that leads to a loss of relationship. So those are two fears that you most often see when people talk about fear of loss. And actually, the real thing is that it's not the fear, it's the outcome that drives the fear. And the outcome that you're afraid of, the real fear, and when we do the work, you come to that point, is that I will be lonely, I will feel abandoned, I will feel unsafe, or I'm unable to sustain my life, mostly financial insecurity, but also could be physical security. Okay, uh, if especially if you're at risk with something which makes you feel insecure physically as well. So, so the thing that drives the fear is the last part, which is I will be lonely, I will feel abandoned, unsafe, I will be unable to sustain my life, I'll be financially or physically insecure. And that actually drives all the fear and everything we do around the fear. Now, in the context of how does it impact your life, okay? Classically, this is where, and I just simplified it, where it can go further, but at least there is panic and depression. That's something that sets in because we are in a place of unknown. What if this happens? Because that's the fear. What if this happens? What if it happens? And so it leads to panic attacks. It leads to feeling depression. Depression is uh, mostly when you lose one time, one person, one loss, then you are now afraid of getting any further and you have fear of losing others. So that's when depression is when you lose hope, basically. And so the two kind of then can create other side effects, but I try to stay as simple as that. Depression and panic is something you see a lot. There's a constant, the person is constantly in fight, flight, freeze mode. So your inner neurology is never at ease. It's always uncertain and fear of unknown, that something somewhere could go wrong. And again, I'm being at the extreme, but that's what you see a lot when people stay in fear of loss. And in many cases, you find people feel stuck, which means I cannot find my way forward. And there is a sense of isolation and, of course, feeling of being unsafe. So I'm stuck here. I don't know how to go, where to go forward. What do I do? Because I'm on my own. And so isolation, and then, of course, the fear as you get into fight, flight, freeze mode depends on the scenario. Because in some cases you may fight, some cases you want to run. In most cases, you actually go into what is called freeze, which means I don't move, I stay where I am. So this is how it impacts your life. Now, where does this come from? And I think this is what we wanted to go. A lot of them. So when I work with people one-on-one or in always, there are two big things that come up. Childhood traumas, a lot to do with abandonment, okay, often experienced very early in childhood, could be also in pregnancy or with the mom, or very early childhood, uh, either with because of either parent, could be because of divorce, because parents were working, too busy. Gabor Mate talks a lot about something which is very interesting. Talks about the fundamental need of a child in the first 2 years, and when we talk about trauma, it doesn't have to be big things as well. It can be just very small things that makes the child feeling abandoned, not cared for, left alone. I think in many cases you would know parents lock up the a child in a room, dark room, as a punishment. This is one of the most, it appears simple. Well, 5 minutes you lock the child, but what happens, especially when a younger one stays there and what it goes through, actually has reminiscence later into life. And so it could be as simple as that. Uh, or they experience loss due to accident or disease very early on. One of the parent, grandparent, somebody goes through difficult disease and they experience the loss. They experience what happens. This has a effect into their life because they become fearful, and that gets traumatic. It gets into their trauma memory, and then it comes in place. The other thing which we see a lot is legacy burdens, which means if there is a history of diseases, losses, suicides, okay, or difficult events in the family tree, uh, somehow that gets imprinted into the child, or and then as it grows up into the adult, and 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 these could be events that have happened to grandparents even, and passed through stories heard, told, untold. Because in the DNA we always find imprints of the past generation, and so those two played the major role on where the fear of loss comes from. So either childhood trauma or legacy burdens. And so classically, how do I, when I work with people, what do I do? So first thing always is start to acknowledge. The first thing is to list your fears of losses. Where all do I see this in my day to day? What is it linked to? Uh, uh, Become aware of how the fear of loss impacts my life. So today you may be living your life in a certain way, but when you start to make correlation with the fear of loss, with where it comes from, the fear itself, you have a kind of understanding of, wow, okay, so that's where it comes from. Then the second task is basically to build self energy, okay, in the work we do. This is So what you basically do is you start with one fear, each fear at a time, and I'm going into the process. You start with the fear and then you build connection to it, deeper understanding about where it comes from, heal the trauma that is underlying, because there's always going to be, most of the time, there's a trauma there, and continue to bring the outcome of that trauma release into better understanding about that difficulty, that fear of loss. Because as you build that relationship, the the fight or flight, which is the typical mechanism that happens, starts to subside down. You have more understanding of what happened, not how it happened, not why it happened, but what happened. And you start to get in touch with your inner self, the what we call the self, the self energy starts to be built. Instead of being there is being fear or sick or sadness or anger or frustration or feeling lonely, it starts to be replaced with curiosity, with compassion, with deeper understanding. So that process starts with the trauma release. And that's the time when normally starts to look at the gifts, because while today when you look at fear of loss, and if I ask somebody what was a gift, they cannot see the gift because there is so much of emotion about anger or shame or guilt or whatever, or fear, extreme fear, that you can't see the gift. But as the self energy starts to be built, there is the gifts start to become visible. They have been there, but you can't see them. So as it may not be, as I said, it's not easy in the beginning, but as you start to do the build self step, the more you get more connection to the gifts and the positives start to become visible into your day-to-day life. And then what normally is done is that start you, so that now the fear takes all the time and all your awareness and all your consciousness. As you start to subside a bit the fear, it's a good thing to start to look at, work on a passion, one thing that makes you happy. So what you're doing is you're progressively diverting your energy away from all that fear holds you more or less captive into something that becomes, you would start with simple passion, can be anything, it doesn't matter what it has to be, but whatever it is that makes you happy, and then start to create a vision for your future self and take actions to move towards it. So what you're basically doing is starting to disengage with those uh, threads which are driven by fear, and starting to create something which is driven by compassion, love, and vision for yourself, where you become happy. And again, it's a process. Okay, it's not something that we say one time, but all the tools that you are getting here from time and time again can be used to run this process. Okay. So what I'm going to do today, okay, so that's probably all for theory. What I'm going to do is to ask you to take something into your life. So let's go into that part. What I'm going to do is to ask you to take one fear of loss. Take any one example into your life, in your life currently. Any fear where you are afraid of a loss of something, anything. Just take a moment to think about it, bring it into your awareness. You can write it down if you want to, but you just note it. That this is one fear I have of a loss. Now start to become comfortable if you can. Just sit in a comfortable position. If you want, you can lie down. If you want to sit straight, as you want, just be comfortable. Make your body as comfortable as you can. And if you want, you can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open as you want. And notice how your breath is flowing into your body and out of your body. Just follow the breath. As you continue to follow your breath, just sense your feet, your legs, any sensation that you can feel in your feet, in your legs, your thighs, into your hips, into your stomach area, to your chest area, your shoulders, in your arms and fingers, and in your head. Just notice if you have any sensation there. I want you to connect to this fear of loss, whatever came up for you. As you connect to that fear of loss, as you think about it, just notice where in your body or around your body you sense it. If there is any sensation you feel in and around your body as you think about that fear of loss. As you connect to this area, wherever you feel the sensation, notice how do you feel towards it as you think about that sensation. Just notice how you feel towards it. You may feel angry, you may feel fearful, or you may feel curious. Just notice how you feel as you pay attention to this area in and around your body. And you can, in fact, invite to yourself to have a conversation with this part of you. You can ask it a question and let it respond. Just ask it what it wants you to know about itself and see what it responds to you, what you get. Don't try to think it, just let it respond back to you. As you hear from this part of you, notice how it feels for you. How do you feel towards it now? And see if you can be a little bit curious. Curious to know what it holds, what information it holds there. So see if you can go to a place of being curious. Or a little bit compassion. And you can ask it, what kind of intention do you have for me? Let it respond. And what it told you is why it is present. And see if you can be a bit compassionate towards it. You can ask it, what can I call you? You have a name. Whatever name it tells you, just keep note of that name. You don't have to make any meaning of the name, just let it tell you how you will identify it, this part of you. Now ask it, what are you afraid would happen if you did not do this inside of me? So it told you what it is protecting you from. And you can further ask, and then what will happen if that happens? it respond. And you can further ask, what is your real fear for me? What are you really afraid of? So I just told you what it is truly protecting you from. So see if you can be compassionate towards it and see how it reacts to your being compassionate. And notice from whatever you heard if it makes sense for you. And let it know. You can always ask it, you don't have to overwhelm me. I'm here, listening in peace and love. And see how it reacts. Now you can ask it, since when are you doing this for me, this role? You can also ask, how old are you? And see what you get as a number. You can further ask, what was going on at that time when you started doing that? And it may point you to a younger age of yours and may show you what was going on at that time. See if you can stay in a place of compassion and clarity, because you may be getting insights. And now ask it, what needs to happen for you to be relaxed and be less present? Now ask it what it showed you as a little one, the younger you, when it all started. If you would like to heal that younger you, the burden that this little one is carrying. It may say yes, it may not say yes. If it is doesn't saying you yes, then ask it what needs to happen before we can heal the younger one. See if you can give it any assurance, your commitment of continuing to do the work and coming back to this part and building relationship with it. That this is not one-time effort. I'm going to be back. And see how it reacts to that. Ask again the permission, is it okay to heal the younger one? And if it gives you the permission, then you can ask to this part of you to say, yeah, you can stay on the side, you can observe, you can be present while we together work with the younger one. And see if you can bring the younger one in front of you, the age it showed you. The younger you standing right in front of you. And see if the younger you is looking into your eyes or is looking around. And if it is looking around and not into your eyes, just take a couple of steps towards it. And if it wants you to hold its hand, you can do that. Anything to give it an assurance from your side that you are here. And see if it starts to look you into your eyes. And notice how you feel towards this little one. See if you can go and look at it and go from a place of compassion. Be confident on yourself as we are here together to work in peace and love with the little one. To see if you can be confident and compassionate towards the little one. Feel that. Now check with the little one how it feels about your presence. How does it feel that you are here? And notice what it tells you. have a small conversation with the little one so that you can build a rapport with the little one. And now ask a little one if it wants to tell you what happened. What did it go through? What did it see or feel? What happened to the little one? And you listen to it telling you in place of compassion, and you keep asking the little one, tell me everything you want me to know, or what happened then. You can always say, don't overwhelm me, I'm here for you. You can ask the little one if it wants you to tell you something more. Saying, do you want to tell me more? And see what it wants you to know. And now ask the little one, what should have happened then that did not happen? What should have happened instead of what did happen? So what did not happen then? And let it tell you. And see if you can assure the little one in your own words how you can not let it happen again. That this happened in the past, but you're going to take care of it. See if you can give an assurance in your own words. Now ask the little one, would it like to leave that place and move to a place of safety where it feels safe? And see what it answers to you. If there is any form of hesitation, you can ask it, what needs to happen for you to feel safe? And see if you can give that assurance. And ask again, are you ready to move to a place of your choice where you are safe. But say before you go, I would like you to release everything that it shared with you into either water or fire or air or earth. So before it goes, you're going to help it release it into water or fire or air or earth. Let it choose. And once it's done the choice, now what you do is you observe that little one releasing it into one of the four places: water, fire, earth, or air. And you wait till it is done. You can always ask it, do you want to release anything else, even if you didn't tell me? And if it says yes, help it release. Now ask it, what qualities did it miss that it wants to bring in now? What qualities did it miss that it would like to bring in now and hear them? And now see each of that quality flowing into every cell of your body. If they have more than one, bring them one by one. And now ask the little one, where would you like to go? It is free to go wherever it wants. It can come with you, or it couldn't go to its favorite place, and it will tell you where it wants to go. And see if you can see the little one in that place. And you can always tell the little one, I will come back and be with you, and leave the little one wherever it is. And now bring back the part that gave you permission and ask it, did you observe what happened to the little one? And what does it think about it? And you can tell to this part and the little one something about your life, what you want. do you want for you? And thanking them both, letting them know that you're going to be back, connecting with them every day, and start to come back. Follow your breath back into the present moment. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you want to take notes, if you want to prepare something for yourself, write something down, just notice whatever came up. And we will do a short tuning forks. It'll take 1 minute to prepare for it while you get ready with writing your things down. Okay, so here we go. So we are going to just open the two centers, one below your feet, one above your head. So just remember to do something called breathing. The way you do the breathing is you take the breath in, you fill up your chest, and then you breathe out from your mouth. Always. So take your breath in, and then breathe out from your mouth. So you follow with me whenever I give you the cue to do it. And I'm going to start by opening below your feet, and then I will open top of the head. So here we go. So take a breath. So I'm 1 foot below your foot, pointing the tuning fork into your back towards your feet, through the backbone, opening the channel to the top of the head. So any distortion that come in, I'm just going to open them up. So see them in second center, sacral. So frustration, disappointment, guilt, shame. Also a place of relationships with your partner. Take a breath. Just coming into the chest, heart center. So this is where you have the relationship with the father or the mother. Take a breath. feels to be stuck there. So I'm opening and using another tuning fork to open up. So I'm going above the heart area and opening up anything that is stuck there. So you went through. So I'm going to ground you. Take a breath. And feel the connection to Mother Earth. I'm going to go to the top of the head. And this time pointing towards the head. So we open the channel from the top of the head onto the feet into Mother Earth. Again came to the heart, blocked at the chest. Take a breath. And anything that feels stuck, see if you can help see it dissolve. Take a breath. Take another breath. Take a breath. Connecting body to Mother Earth. So I'm just going to do a quick closure. And wrap you in this beautiful cocoon of 528 hertz. take some rest, and then we're going to open after 2 minutes.